Welcome to another episode of the Lead2Xceed chat with me, Henry Baye. In this episode, I'll be chatting with you about the subject of authority in leadership. The authority exercised by leaders is a kind of legitimate power, and it's usually people will follow people who are exercising such leadership because their positions demand it. And irrespective of who is holding that position, people will gravitate towards the authority they hold. Now, when people get into leadership positions that are positional, they have an authority that may be delegated to them or authority that they have acquired because they started whatever it is they are leading. There is a purpose of authority, and in positional leadership, authority is used to set direction, distribute resources, solve problems of the organizations, and holding positional authority also comes with a sovereign privilege of holding significant amounts of responsibility. But positional authority is limited by one's rank or title. So in most cases, the positional authority leaders hold derives from other sources higher than themselves, and that authority gets cascaded down through delegation. This means that there is a purpose for holding that authority that should not be missed. The question I'm asking today is, how much reliance should leaders place on authority when leading people? Let me make a note that leaders are trusted for their judgment and respected for their expertise, their integrity, their effectiveness, their authenticity, their communication skills, among others, and hence they are followed. Now, it's important also to note that leaders are not followed all the time because of their authority. For example, if you take Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther, for the most part, they really did not hold an elected position or an appointed position, but they held so much authority. So leaders who rely on the authority tend to tell people rather than listen and hear. Authority rarely provides a scope for feedback, constructive criticism, or opinions of the people on whom it is exercised. You will find that leaders who rely on the authority to lead tend to value control a lot. It is also important to understand that a formal authority and power emerging from it might not always be able to influence people in the desired manner. As in times of crisis and difficulties, people view this as coercion. The third point is leaders who rely on the authority, they tend to demand respect rather than work to earn it. Respect for leaders does not just come from the positions they hold. It comes from many things, including, as I mentioned, their authenticity, their emotional intelligence, their leadership effectiveness, among others. Indeed, in some cases, the inappropriate use of authority can undermine a leader's respect. So how does people who lead with authority, how do they come across to the people they lead? Number one is people feel compelled to do things rather than be inspired to do it. The problem is that while authority can compel action, it does very little to inspire belief. It is not enough to get people to do what you want. They also want to do what you want because they want it, or else any changes that are carried out can be short-lived. And that's why change always requires leadership rather than authority. People do not work within an atmosphere of freedom when they are led by leaders who rely on authority. When adults come to work, they want to feel free to work and deliver results. They want to interact, communicate, and be part of the decision-making and the change process. Indeed, the constant use of authority in the long run drains energy rather than rejuvenate people. It creates a work environment that does not promote retention of good people. Now, let me share with you my experience of how effective leaders use their authority. First of all, effective leaders know how to share that authority they hold by delegating and building others. One of the most powerful tools in creating culture is empowering people. And effective leaders know how to spread that authority around the organization by empowering their people to make decisions that could have been centered in them and owning the consequences and results. Second thing is, you need to focus on leadership rather than the use of authority when dealing with adults. The sole use of authority to direct and discipline them hardly works. Leadership provides a better approach of sharing and involving, thus building rapport with followers and creating long-term relationships. They tend to create followers out of free will and choice without forcing them to accept anything thrown their way. Leaders who are good at leading without authority ask the questions no one will ask. There are questions that more junior colleagues will find it difficult to ask for fear that they might offend. Sometimes these are the real questions that are in the best interest of the organization or group. So leaders need to use their authority to ask those questions and create the discussion that leads to great change. Also, effective leaders create focus and discipline around achieving the organization's goals by showing the right example and creating systems that are sustained by the people. Indeed, when leaders continuously lean on their authority to lead, it ends up undermining exactly the atmosphere of discipline that they want to build. Finally, effective leaders use their authority to deploy resources in a way that builds and motivates people. So use your authority to deploy the resources of the organization in a way that builds people and that invests in people. So let me end today's chat by saying this. For all leaders, please note that the constant use of your authority is not what makes you a legitimate leader. If you find the need to always remind people about the authority or the position you hold, then right there is the first sign that there's something wrong. So as always, if you have a leadership question that you would like answered, if you have heard anything in this video that has triggered a question on your mind, or there is any thought that you'd like us to explore some more, then definitely send a question to us via this channel or the email on your screen. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also hit the notification or bell button so that you'll be the first to know when we share any new content. This has been me, Henry Baye, on the Lead2Xceed channel. Lead2Xceed, inspiring leaders, multiplying impact.